This
It's
this
challenging, right?
this might be kind of controversial. Out of the ones that we haven't ranked yet,
Mhm.
I think the worst is probably Rogue One.
Ooh,
I am
I have to hear this.
I am not a fan of Rogue One. I think it's probably the outside of whatever the last mainline Star Wars movie was, episode 12 or whatever the fuck, or 9, I don't know. Outside of that last one, I think it's the weakest Star Wars.
My work here is done, and I didn't have to lift a finger.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think visually it's very well shot and directed. I love the vibe that it has to it on a visual level, but on a story level, I think that it really falls short, specifically because it's a movie that like we all sort of know the ending to. Going into it, it's like, okay, we know that Rogue One, the squadron gets killed. They
Mhm.
die
Right.
before A New Hope.
And
I
we
think.
know they succeed in getting the plans.
Yes, exactly. So going into it, I was like, okay, so what are they going to do with it? Like, we already know how it's going to end, theoretically. So my expectation was like, okay, they're really going to make us care about these people. Like, they're going to make it some kind of fun ensemble thing where like the characters have a lot of charm and they so that their deaths have like a lot of gravity to it because it's kind of
Kinda Game
inevitable.
of Thrones us, make you fall in love with people that you know
The
tragedy
Exactly,
gravitas of the
exactly.
tragedy of what happens.
It would have been a lot more effective if, first of all, like, I don't even remember most of the like, I thought that they were so forgettable, and as characters, were very bland, and for that reason, the movie wasn't, like, super effective. Like, I felt like if you're gonna tell that story, you gotta bring something else to it, but although, this Darth Vader scene at the end, that was pretty cool. I
That's
gotta admit, and the
oh,
space
man.
battle was great. There's good stuff in it, I just as a whole, I think it just falls short.
Would you also put it in D tier, or you wanna argue something different?
I wasn't gonna until Josh started talking, throwing out like reasons. No, I cackled because I was like, I'm ready to fight you as Rogue One being the worst Star Wars. And then, like, as you're explaining your reasons,
Mm.
I'm sitting here and thinking of Felicity and Smoke, who played Jason. Oh, I'm killing the names.
See, you're
And then
making this
adding
point for him.
I don't even
Forgettable.
know who you're
Characters are
talking
completely
about.
forgettable.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't know who that is.
And then I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking like, well, I mean, I really liked the blind guy. Wait, what was his name?
Right?
You
Forrest
know, and then he
Whitaker.
had a partner who was a heavy gunner. And then there's Andor, which
Sure.
I have remembered even before the show
Mhm.
because K2SO
Right.
was hysterical.
Yeah, why is the robot the most likable character? Like, that doesn't make any
Agreed.
sense.
And it really honestly, like, I hate to add to this because I really did want to fight you on this.
Mm.
Jalen Urso, that's her name.
Jalen?
Jalen,
See, I have no clue. It's the main character.
the main character, the main
What the
female
fuck is her
protagonist
name?
in this
Jin
film.
Urso.
Jin.
Jin. Oh my
Her name
god,
was
Galen
Jin.
Urso. Galen Urso is her father. That's why I'm mixing it
Oh,
up.
okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Which I have a bone to pick with that, which was had always been my annoyance with Rogue One was that they gave the name Galen to another character, and Galen Marek was my favorite Star Wars character in the whole universe from
Mm.
Star Wars Force Unleashed,
Mhm.
and they took his name and gave it to this.
Embarrassingly, Rogue One was my first Star Wars movie. I was so hyped after seeing it, but after watching the others, I can agree with you guys. Well, you're agreeing with all of Josh, three
Half of
quarters
Carlos,
of
yeah.
Carlos, and
2/4.
an eighth of me, because for me, Rogue One is it still is my favorite Star Wars movie. I can absolutely see the points that you guys make.
Mhm.
I know that you
I
lean a little bit towards me in that you don't think it's the worst.
No, I really enjoy it as a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I agree with the things that Josh said
Mhm.
about the cast.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're not memorable characters. And I think Andor, the TV show, is trying to fix that.
Mhm.
And that actually increases my affinity for this movie, which already was my favorite Star Wars, because I think Andor is an excellent series.
Right.
Again, it's it's trashed because there's no lightsaber. You know, it doesn't please the lightsaber crowd. It is more character driven. It is more backstory and exposition. And I actually kind of, you know, it's more of a spy series.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's very like slow build
Mhm.
because it's a heist movie. It's like, it's a heist show. It's like all of these things. And I like that there's still some mystery about Andor. Okay, he was in prison and he was in the military, and we're skipping over that. And obviously, there's whatever. But anyways, we did all this comparing just now of it against other Star Wars films, and that kind of helps us have some of the important arguments. But ultimately, we have to tier this against all of these films.
Very true.
So not against other Star Wars movies.
Mhm.
So I could say that against these films, Rogue One, I could put it in C, but maybe I'm just leaning too much on my personal feelings.
Oh.
And I think maybe objectively, the three of us would be more in agreement to D tier it, unfortunately for me.
Against these other movies, I would agree with that. Yeah. There's so much good stuff on here that it's like, if there's a movie that has to sit on D, Rogue One is my pick, and so that
Of these.
of those,
Yeah.
yeah, there that is the movie.
What do you think,
I
Carlos?
would have put it on C.
C tier?
I'm fine with C. I mean, there's others that I'm not super hot on, but I mean, we don't need a movie for every tier.
Yeah,
either,
well, how
so
about
it's like,
this?
yeah,
We could see it for now.
yeah, pop it in
Yeah.
the middle.
And then it may get bumped up or down as we put other things in. We may be like, okay, that other thing has to kind of go in C because whatever. But then when you compare them side by side, it pushes one thing further. Okay. I'm down with that.
Side note, I do want to say that Samantha and I, we went to go see Rogue One together,
Nice.
and I knew that was her first Star Wars movie. As soon as we finished it, when we went back home, because we were living together at the time, I
Episode
immediately
4?
put in episode
Yes.
4.
Oh, that's
Because I
great.
was like, you need to see this
you-
immediately while
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fresh.
That is, I think, the one thing that probably everybody can agree on is that the last 5 minutes of Rogue One
Oh,
is
yeah.
one of the best sequences in film.
Mm.
Brilliant.
And so wonderfully stitched with episode 4.
Yeah, unbelievable.